on this matter, and I believe next Politburo we shall be able to report these terms of reference vis-a-vis the establishment of this elders committee. 12, a report on the National Interministerial Task Force on COVID-19 pandemic was presented by the Secretary of Health, Dr. David Parejoto, and was very welcomed, warmly welcomed by the Politburo. I believe this covers what you wanted to hear, but Dr. Parejoto is here with me, and I will be able to answer any questions in terms of the pandemic. And indeed, we are all here also to respond to any other questions relevant to the meeting today of the Politburo. You are very welcome.
Thank you very much, Comrade Spokesperson, for an elaborate yet so brief remarks on our 349th Politburo session, ordinary session.
Thank you.
Just the key points. The Vice President, Comrade KCD Mohad, has resigned from government, but his position in the party is and remains unaffected. So that means he's still the Vice President and Second Secretary of the party. I make this emphasis, Comrade Chef, in case people want to speculate or deliberately misinform their peers as a result of this special brief from yourself.
Sure.
Before we come to your question and answer segment, Dr. Parejoto, just maybe a brief explanation of the vaccination recommendations that were given from the Politburo with regards to the ongoing vaccination program, maybe for the benefit of our colleagues from the press.
Sure.
Just briefly, Comrade Parejoto, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. The issue of the vaccine in Zimbabwe was discussed and deliberated upon by the Politburo today very extensively, and everybody welcomed the rollout program of the vaccine and applauded government in terms of its leadership of the region, in terms of availing the vaccine to its own people here in Zimbabwe, particularly using a vaccine called Sinopharm, which is perhaps outside the COVAX facility. And this has led us to have a lead time in terms of vaccine delivery. And the Politburo further recommended that this rollout should be expedited so that as many people get vaccinated as soon as possible to avoid the third wave. And it has been emphasized also by the Minister of Health, who was also in the Politburo, who is also our Vice President, that every effort is being made by His Excellency the President to make sure that further doses or further vaccines come into the country soonest. And the priority groups will be attended to. And indeed, there's no doubt about it that if you do vaccinate as quickly as possible, it does mean that we also try to circumvent the danger of the third wave. So we're pleased with that, and the country is being urged to embrace the vaccine, to have a higher uptake of the vaccine as quickly as possible so that the country can survive from COVID-19 and go back to work, go back to normalcy. In fact, the vaccine is not really the answer to all, but it is a good way of soft landing into industry, together with social distancing, together with the issue of wearing of masks and the issue of sanitizing. The Politburo was also briefed on the lockdown, the extent to which the lockdown has brought relief, especially to some sections of industry. And the lockdown has made it clear that the hours have changed. 10 o'clock p.m. to 5:30 in the morning and 8 o'clock in the morning. So for business, for normal business. So this is very, very good for us. But emphasis is that any industry that wants to open up must satisfy the COVID-19 protocols and also must adhere to the times that have been stipulated. There was a discussion on the certification of vaccines, that if you are vaccinated, after some time that becomes a valid certification so that you are able to travel and say that, look, here I am vaccinated, so that wherever you go, at least there is that baseline that you have been vaccinated in your own country against COVID-19. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you very much indeed. I think you can move ahead with. Thank you very much for. You can still ask him questions. You can ask questions. You are very welcome. Well, the point is simple. The appointing authority is the president. And therefore, I cannot speak on his behalf. He knows when he'll do it. He's the appointing authority. Was it? It can't be deliberated upon. That's why it is the appointing authority. You don't deliberate on the appointing authority or with the appointing authorities. He's the appointing authority. Yes, any more questions? Yeah, please, you are welcome. The good thing about us convening this platform and having leadership at this level, it is to ensure that people don't misinform the public on the basis that they were not given an opportunity to probe or seek clarification. So it is your opportunity.
Yes, indeed, you are quite right. This has been deliberated upon, and that is really in the pipeline, so that it is not only a demonstration of how much we support the Zanu from vaccine, but also to say to other people that, look, it is safe. And indeed, it is safe. There's a lot of infodemic where people are saying, well, this, you remember there's a report that came warning Zimbabwe that don't use this vaccine because it has killed people, and it was giving wrong statistics on what is happening in China. Remember, it was saying there's 3 billion people in China when you know there's 1.4 billion. It was saying there are 20 million Zimbabweans when we know our population is 14.5 million. So the whole report has been discarded and discredited. However, it doesn't mean to say that we are just open to any vaccine. The policy is that we've got a Medicines Control Authority of Zimbabwe, which is under the Ministry of Health and Child Care, and that any vaccine that comes must be properly validated by them before it is put to the populations of Zimbabwe. So yes, you're right. The party will take it upon itself very soon to have those who qualify to be appropriately vaccinated, both in public and in private, so that people can actually get on and see that no, there's no harm in getting vaccinated. Thanks for that very pertinent question.
I was going to ask whether all of them here have been vaccinated. Your classified as
Frontliners.
Yes. Very important.
whether they are yet to be vaccinated.
You're very good. No, you're right. I just wanted to mention one important area. That is the social media. The abuse we see almost on a daily basis of the social media. It tarnishes your profession, particularly you journalists. And I would ask that you refrain from abusing your own profession. Because we know also that journalism is a noble profession, guided by ethics. And in some quarters, we understand it is used as a pen, mightier than the sword. That's what we hear sometimes, which is fine. But please don't use it as a sword. Don't use the pen as a sword. You see, yours is to build, yours is to unite, yours is to entertain, yours is to educate, not to destroy, because it won't be helpful to anybody when tomorrow comes. So we are seeing a lot of activities on social media. Please advise each other that that's not how a country is built. We build our country as a family. We are one family, and the you as journalists are part of that family. So please let's refrain from posting those things we are not even sure, sometimes which are totally out of this world. And please, I would want to appreciate if this message can really be sent out to all your possible quarters so that we can really move forward as one family, united in purpose and also in dignity and respect.
Thank you very much, Comrade Spokesperson. You know, we have tried our level best to build it
Yes,
and close it so that we avoid the we versus them or them
yes,
versus us
yes.
scenario, and we hope we are going to take your word for what it is.
Thank you.
Right, this other one. Any other questions? Yes, Margaret?
The efficacy. Well, what has been found is that the vaccine that we're using here, a Sinopharm vaccine, is over 76% efficacy. And we need to know in our own community how far that will be true. But clearly, we think that that sort of efficacy is good enough to, if we can get a herd immunity in terms of 60% of our people being vaccinated, using even that vaccine, we should be able to have a good herd immunity that protects the whole community. So we would urge that as soon as we get more and more of these vaccines, more and more people take that vaccine so that we have the appropriate herd immunity. Efficacy is good. Safety has been proven to be extremely good. And it's the science that we know. Sinopharm vaccine is the science of an attenuated or killed virus that is now, that we know is dead, and then it's now being used to make you produce the antibodies that fight against the COVID-19 virus. And this is what we know has been used for rabies, it has been used for measles. It's the old science. The science that is a bit worrying is the one that is using the genetic alterations. But for Sinopharm, I think it's an old science. You are saying ivermectin. Ivermectin, we still need to do appropriate studies here. In other countries, in other communities, it has been embraced. but it has always been it's taken as an alternative type of prevention. There are papers that have been written to say it is very preventive. Others are actually saying it's very preventive, both in the mild cases and to the severe cases. And I'm aware that the Ministry of Health and Child Care is commissioning a study on ivermectin.
Thank you very much, Comrade Secretary for Health and Elder Comrade Parina for the elaborate COVID-19. Thank you very much, Comrade Secretary. Maybe just on a lighter note, or appeal to our colleagues from the media to help with us celebrate when, forward from the opposition come to join, say they are not ready to receive that part. Comrade SK, they are now calling you Baba Gamchirai because you are receiving so many people and you'll be receiving so many of them.
Sure, they're welcome.
Into the future as they come to the party.
They're very welcome. They're very welcome.
Is that a,
Quite clearly, the president and the minister have said that it's voluntary. It's free and voluntary. But we urge people to have an uptake. We want people to take it on. But it's still free and voluntary. And that is, I think, the emphasis that has been given. You see, the whole idea is to make sure that you as an individual, you take responsibility. You take responsibility in the sense that you want to prevent yourself getting infected, but you also want others to be protected from you infecting them. And so the idea is really to make people realize the importance of getting yourself vaccinated.
And also, of course, the president said there may come a time. He didn't say there's going to be this next year or what. He said they may come. And of course, it's possible. We don't know about tomorrow. They may come a time. May.
I hope you are vaccinated.
That's good.
Very much.
But have all these been vaccinated?
I hope so. But you are here. Speak for yourselves. Are you vaccinated? Why?
But you are frontline workers and people were fighting for you.
Absolutely. We're fighting for you.
They come that time.
Oh, God has not called you. Well,
Okay. Thanks.
okay. Thank you very much.